Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Awaken the World Quick Talk. Today, control in our modern world. It, of course, is Saturday, April 20th, and 6:30 p.m. I don't know why that says 7:30. That's a mistake. Well, turns out we just jumped time zones and weren't even aware of it, hey? Well, I guess sometimes that happens. Let's get our chat back online. And yeah, I'm not surprised that nobody will be here because I couldn't tell you how that turned out to be 7:30. I really don't. Kelly and I talked about it. 6:30. These things happen when you're taking drugs. It really does. It really does. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, we're going to talk about power and control in our modern world and how that comes about and what the various types of power are and why this is such an issue, okay? So when we think about hard power, what we're talking about is economic and physical force, okay? We're talking about coercive force. Now, this force is done through two means and two means only. One of them is a vegetable and the other one is a stick. Carrots and sticks. This is hard power. Economic and physical force involving the use of a carrot to try and get you to do what is required or wanted, or the stick to beat you into submission. And then there is soft power, and this is co-optive in nature. It involves shaping minds. It involves bringing a mind around to thinking the way that you're supposed to be thinking, okay? And examples of soft power include education. Our education system is being used by the power and control structure on this planet to, in a soft power sort of method, change the minds and co-opt humanity. It includes such things as media, okay? All our media is soft power. Consumerism, our never-ending search for goods. Also, such thing as defining trends, defining what's cool, defining what's in. Those are all ways that we are controlled through soft power. Now, hard power and soft power combined equal what we know as structural power. And this is power inequality embedded in and produced by economic, social, political, and ideological structures. And what we're really talking about is our governing system, the front men that we vote for. Has anyone noticed yet that nothing really ever changes? And that the more things do change when they change, the more they remain the same. Well, that's because those are the front men of the soft power system, put there to co-opt and coerce, and much worse than that, separate one from another to avoid the need of using hard power, although hard power is being used all the time. Physical violence, physical force against others. Hello, Cindy. How you doing? I don't know why that says 7:30. Kelly and I had talked about 6:30. I had scheduled it for 6:30, so totally my fault, but so glad you could be here. So we're just talking about the difference between hard and soft power. And hard power, which is coercive, like carrots and sticks, economic and physical power, versus soft power, which is shaping minds through education, media, consumerism, what's cool, what's in, what's the current trend. Those are all examples of soft power, and together they form structural power. Now, you could, and I will confess that there was a time in my life where I looked upon conspiracy theorists who warned about what was coming and spoke about a power and control structure on the planet. There was a day when I thought they were all absolutely quacks. Now I'm the quack, apparently. Because I've witnessed this firsthand, I've seen it, I know a fair bit about it, and it's real, 100% real, that we are being controlled and herded around like a gigantic herd of cattle. And the level of humanity of that power and control structure reflects about the same feeling about us, is that we're nothing more than cattle. So, how can we as awakening beings deal with the reality of what we face in an unconscious society that is being scared through hard power, economic and physical force into doing what is wanted, and controlled and coerced through soft power, media, consumerism, the education system, trends? What do we do about it? How can we deal with that? And one of the people we can look at, of course, in our history is Gandhi. And, you know, one of the things about Gandhi is that he initially supported the British Empire 100%. He was all for equality, but he believed in the British Empire. As a matter of fact, he had been sold the dream. He wanted to be one of the British nobles, the rich. He went to become a lawyer, and he froze in front of the judge. Literally froze. So he was beginning to form a new idea of power, you know, and this came to him after, of course, that fateful incident when he was in South Africa and summarily thrown off a train and spent a night in a train station. It is not the possession of the empowered, it is something given to the powerful by the masses. If the masses decide the power is invalid and not legitimate, they can stop accepting it. Gandhi also began to recognize the structural power of the British. He understood that the power could be taken away from them. So he called for Indians to give up their British textiles, to no longer wear British textiles, and to weave their own cloth, and to go on a massive nationwide strike, effectively halting the British Empire in India. The response, of course, from the British General Dyer was the Amritsar massacre of 1919, in which we see a horrific example of hard power, of using a stick, summarily murdering men and women and children for no reason. The British had very little soft power in India at the time. It was all about the carrot and the stick, that hard power system. And they were losing it with every act of hard power. And this is what is so important. No matter what we do, no matter who we choose to associate with, we must make sure that we are never using hard power against others to push an awakening agenda. The two do not fit together. They truly do not. They did not control the hearts and minds of the Indians, whereas Gandhi had tremendous soft power, to the point that the British, who had him imprisoned time and time again, could have easily killed him. But they were deathly afraid to, because they knew the hearts and minds of the Indian people belonged to Gandhi. The more the British use their hard power, the more hard power is being used in our world today, the more Gandhi's soft power increased. This is known as the Jiu-Jitsu effect. Jiu-Jitsu is a martial art where you use the opponent's power and weight with very little effort against them. Gandhi employed non-violent techniques of non-cooperation. He recognized that the British were trying to set up a pervasive structure of power. Now, it's too late for us. We already have these structures in place. And by not participating in these structures, that is the only way we can undermine those structures. How do we not participate? We avoid and undermine the structural power of this power and control cabal on the planet, who would see most of us destroyed, who would see most of us sicken and die in exchange for their safety and their future. We work by refusing to participate in the structure in whatever way we can. We can do that through engaging in trades with other people instead of in cash, avoiding getting wrapped up in credit and debt. Of course, not consuming any more than is necessary, not getting caught up in consumerism. You know, basically, pretty much exactly the opposite of what every single TV commercial is trying to sell you is what you want to be doing. Now, let's just be perfectly clear, okay? This does not mean that there is not hope for our planet, okay? As we know, the more hard power is exercised, the weaker those who exercise the hard power become. Because hard power is an incredible expenditure, and we see that in the military budgets all over the planet, but especially in the United States. These budgets are not sustainable long term without driving the entire society into slavery. The end of them is built right in. The question, of course, is whether 99.9% of us are going to be able to hold on long enough to see those structures fall apart. And I have to tell you, my bet right now is on the power and control structures wiping out the majority of the human species. It's unfortunate, but we are so unconscious, we are so asleep, and yes, there is an awakening going on, but that awakening is not occurring at a rate that is going to serve us well enough, especially when it comes to our environment. Right now, at this very moment, already hundreds of millions of our brothers and sisters are doomed within the next decade thanks to environmental climate change. And there is no amount of carbon emission stoppage that can happen today that will have any effect on that at all. That's already written in stone. We, as always, have an opportunity. You know, Gandhi was not afraid to go to jail. And I'm not saying end up going to jail for what you're doing. But there will come a time in your life where you will recognize that you are standing in front of an element of that power and control structure. And you will have a choice to make. Make the best choice for you at the time. And in my case, unfortunately, that probably means imprisonment. Much love to you all. I hope this has been an informative little talk and gives you a little bit of idea of how power and control on our planet is utilized and where we can work on soft power, on co-opting minds, on educating people about the truth of their existence, their birthright, and exercising soft power by banding together, loving one another, caring for one another, winning the hearts of those around you through your actions. All our love from both Kelly and myself. Namaste. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning for a meditation. And then 1 o'clock, we're going to have a special Easter Sunday live. Sure, we'll just call it Easter. Yeah, Cindy, and I got to admit, I was one of the people who didn't believe a long time ago. I really didn't. And my exposure in my 25-year Special Forces career and all the things that I saw going on, and witnessed firsthand, your hubby's 100% right. But it's not a fight that we can win through hard power. It's a fight we can only win through spreading love and those things that are worth having as values. Again, all our love. Thank you, Cindy, for being here. We miss you when we don't see you. Take care.